Everyone. Welcome to this Memorial Mastering Reputation class. I want to make sure, first of all, that you guys can hear me okay. If you can just put into the chat area, just to let me know that someone can hear me. I'd appreciate it. And in the chat side, we should be on the right-hand side. You can just enter in, I can hear you okay. That way I can begin. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you out there. Appreciate you. All right. So thank you all for being on here today. This is a Memorial Mastering the Reputation class. And before I even begin, I came to my office. I'm here in the state of New Jersey, right outside New York City. But I came to my office and I actually picked up the issue of the Director, which probably came to me yesterday. And I was just looking at it and it says, "Stop the press. Obituaries aren't dying. They are evolving." All right. So you guys may also get this magazine as well, too. But it just spoke to even some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And just it said obituaries, they're not dying. It's just evolving. And that is how so much of this funeral industry is, where it's really evolving, and we have to find different ways to do things that used to work before. Now, if you think about the funeral industry and how funeral homes really grew and survived and really even thrived years ago, it would be word of mouth. You know, there was a lot of word of mouth where if they had one good experience with a family, then it would spread to other families, and also that family would also share it with their loved ones when they died, and they would kind of go through generations. And that it's still the same thing. It still works. And this is actually even with going into reputation, it still works. However, it's just completely evolved today, especially here in 2026, of how we can build that reputation, how we can still use that, let's say, social proof, or how we can still use that word of mouth just in today's environment. So same with obituaries, it's evolving. Same thing with reputation and word of mouth, which is how so many funeral homes were able to continue in business, and it's still something we can do today. So I'm glad you guys are with me for this master class today. So today we're going to be talking about, again, mastering funeral home reputation, and we say a practical, respectful approach to building trust. Okay, and I'll go more in detail. I'm going to share some more stories as well. We're going to be here for about an hour. Okay, so I'll be on with you guys for about an hour. The chat area that we have, you can definitely enter, things in the chat. You can put questions. There's a question area as well too. If you have any questions throughout, at the end of the session, which is going to be about an hour, then I will go through any questions that you may have. And also, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a couple of these, what we call freebies. One is Reputation Matters, a little like a handbook that I put together of some things that's helpful for you. And I'll explain it even as I go further in this session for you to start building your reputation today. Okay, so Reputation Matters, that handbook. You're going to get that at the end. We'll also give you a case study of how one funeral home they've improved their ratings from really like a 3.3 to just about a 4.9 in a little under 2 months. All right, so that's another thing as well. And then the last thing I'm going to give you is a business optimization assessment. And this is really all for you. This is not for you to send to me or anything, but this is for you to have. And it's just an assessment that you can take of your own funeral business. And it'll give you some really good insight of some things that you can address, some areas that might need some addressing, that might need some attention. And it's a great overall assessment of your business for you to take. It's about like 30 questions on there. And again, it's really for your own personal use. And so many people have just benefited just from going through these questions and answering the questions for their funeral home. Okay. So also I want to share with you, in 2 weeks, we're going to have another session. I will not repeat the Reputation Masterclass session, not like this. We may do it again at some point. But next 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking about how funeral homes can do more with less through automation and using automation, and how it can actually make, even though the funeral business is very personal, but still some automations that can be put in place to make the funeral home much more effective and improve business overall. Okay, so in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing that. I will probably send out some links in reference to that as well and share some posts in regards to that. Actually, as I'm about to begin, I do have a Facebook group that is called Funeral Business Tips and Strategies, which I'm going to give you the link for it right now so you can actually join the Facebook group. For those of you here, I'm putting it into the chat area right now. So I encourage you to join the Facebook group because that's where I'll be posting some things in there as well. And also next sessions that we have coming up. And these sessions, they're all business related, all funeral related, specifically for our industry, which I think is so very important for us to have. I do have a business background, but this is specifically for our funeral industry. All right. So a couple of things I put up, and we can just mention it really quickly. This was some of the, and I don't know, some of you may have come by a post that you've seen or some advertisement that we ran, but these are two of them. One that says your reputation is already speaking. All right, whether you know it or not, your reputation is already speaking. And are you really directing the conversation? All right. And then also every service leaves a message. Every service that you guys have for a family, there's a message, and families remember, and they're likely to share that message. So just these things for you to consider, especially as we're looking to build a reputation. It's already speaking, and every service is leaving a message. And it's a message that we want to be shared out there, especially if it's a great message that we have, because it's going to help to build our businesses and build our reputation. And I'll explain a little bit more about that as we go further. So thank you. We're going to begin Mastering Funeral Home Reputation, a practical, respectful approach to building trust. So now, why reputation matters more than ever. Okay, I shared before about how funeral homes operated in the past. It was a lot by word of mouth. And it's not that is completely gone. It's just how has it evolved into 2026, into today's society, into how technology is impacting and influencing as well. So reputation matters more than ever now. Reputation is no longer optional. It's really how families decide who to call before they ever walk through your doors, all right? Before they even come to your doors, before they will call you and you get a first call, it's really that reputation. And they decide based upon the reputation that's out there. All right, I have on here, trust is built before the first call. Families decide sooner than you think. I'm going to tell you a story. Now, I've been in this funeral industry for over 25 years at this point. And my daughter-in-law, this is just last year, 2025. My daughter-in-law, her father actually died last year. And she's from the Atlanta, Georgia area. And I know some funeral homes down there. And I gave her, a couple of them to check out because I don't have strong relationships down in the Atlanta area. So I gave her some to check out. And what she ended up doing was, even though I'm her father-in-law, I gave her the traditional word of mouth. I told her which ones to check out and that I've heard some good things about. But she went online first and she checked out the reputation of the funeral homes before. And she looked and saw quite a few of them that had some good reputation and then some bad reputation. And that's actually how she ended up making her decision. Now, I'll say it just so happened that her decision ended up being the one that we had kind of guided her towards, because again, I've heard some good things about them, against the reputation. But she definitely didn't just go with it. She actually looked online first to see what kind of reputation, what were other people saying about this firm? What were other people's experience, other families' experiences? And that was really how she made her decision. And honestly, there was another one that she actually liked a little bit more. Their website was was nicer. The pictures of the facility was more impressive, but then the reputation um, that she saw for them, it didn't live up to the reputation that she saw from the ones she actually ended up choosing. So, these other things that we do, yes, the website is important. Yes, the pictures, a beautiful facility, but what's really guiding the decisions of this next generation is the reputation that they see online. Okay. So this isn't about marketing harder. It's about making sure the care you already provide is visible. All right. The things that you're already doing. So this isn't about, I mean, I can share in other areas as well too about marketing, but this is really about how you are showcasing the families that you're already serving. How are you letting others see the great care that you're providing for families already? This is what's actually looking to build your reputation. So it's not about getting the next family or getting another uh, 10 families this month or for this year, whatever your numbers are. It's really about the families that you already have. How is that actually being used to help build your reputation and really, in the end, uh, increase your bottom line? Okay. So reputation is no longer optional. It's really how families decide who to call before they ever walk through your doors. And one more thing I'll say before I even leave the screen is that families, and I've heard this before, today's individuals, they actually will more trust an online like review platform or a review system than they would word of mouth. Okay. Now, I was an example of that, right? Because I told my daughter-in-law, which funeral home and, kind of guided her towards it, but she still looked online to see that. And it's not to say that, word of mouth isn't good or they don't trust the person that they're hearing from. But even though we can hear somebody saying something audibly and somebody that we know, um, when you look online and you see the experience of 10, 20, 30 other people, that outweighs it in today's consumer's mind. Okay. So the online reputation is more powerful than the word of mouth referral that we used to count on. And, we could still maybe get that every once in a while, but still the reputation is so very vital for the funeral businesses. All right. So now what happens if you don't address reputation? And thankfully, you guys are here today, that you guys are doing, at least listening in to hear, what can be done with the reputation. But what happens for those firms that don't, if they don't address reputation? All right, I want to ask these questions. You can think about it. If you want to put in chat, you can, but just think about these questions. I think you can kind of come to the answers yourself as well too. What happens when maybe only 3 or 4 families leave reviews in a year? What do you guys think will happen? How does that look when you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 families leaving reviews per year? I've worked with funeral homes, and this is literally the case that they're handling close to 1,000 cases in a year, but there's only the reviews. They're only getting 3 or 4 because that's what does that look like? What kind of reputation does that look like when people see that online, leaving only 3 to 4 family reviews per year? Now, the funny thing, not funny, but the thing to consider with this as well is that families will be, what do you think they'll be more likely to leave a positive review or a negative review? They'll actually be more likely to leave a negative review when something goes wrong, when the flowers didn't look right, when the driver was late, when the tie had, wasn't tied straight, whatever it was. They are much more likely, and the studies show it's like 10 times more likely when something negative occurs to go ahead and be motivated to leave a negative review than they would be to actually leave a positive review. So that means you're 10 times more likely to get something bad that happened, and we're all in business. We've all had, different things happen. Not everything runs smoothly, 24/7. There's things that happen, but you're more likely to get negative reviews automatically. Remember, this is if we don't do anything intentional about it, than we would be to get something positive. Now, what about this next one? What happens when like one negative review sits unanswered for months? If we just have a negative review that's out there, let's say on Google, which is one of the primary like review platforms that many people know about, if a negative review sits unanswered for months, so a family comes on there, they had a bad experience or what have you, and they leave a negative review, and there's no response to it whatsoever. What does that look like to the consumer that is, maybe browsing around and searching for which funeral home they want to go to bring mom to, or bring dad to, or bring, whoever their loved one is to? When they see a negative review there and like no one answers, they're going to think that the funeral home doesn't care. They're going to think that whatever that negative review was just right. It was correct. Whatever they were saying, it was accurate. All right. So this is nothing that happens if we're not intentional. How about this? When a competitor down the street looks more trusted online, all right, because your firm, or you may have some reviews, but your competitor has many more positive reviews, even though they may not be doing better service. But what happens? I mean, my daughter-in-law was a perfect example. She chose the one that had the more reviews. All right, so your competition will get more business. Now, if you don't tell your story, very likely then Google is telling one for you. All right, so this is about being intentional. So if we don't intentionally do this, there's still a story that is being told. Now, let's go on the other side. What can change when reputation is built intentionally? And let's just put here, just better overall business. Better overall business. You have more confident families calling because they've checked out online, they've seen the reputation, they're calling confidently because they've seen how other families, how their experience was with your firm. So more confident families will be calling. You'll get fewer price-only shoppers. You have people that are going to browse online looking for the best and the cheapest price, and those kind of families or consumers, they're just looking for the best price. All right, so they're not necessarily even looking for reputation or what have you. And you'll have fewer of those types, and fewer ones just gonna say, well, what's your price, and then compare it with someone else, and then just look to get the cheapest price there. You're gonna get more people that are about value. I'll put it like that. Okay, more families that are more about value, about service, about the care that you provide for them. So you get fewer price-only shoppers. Now, this is another good one as well too, because this reputation and mastering reputation, it does so much for the overall funeral business. The staff morale improves, and this is another area that I know funeral homes work with. I've done some sessions on this as well too, as far as team the team members and getting team morale. But the staff morale improves when you start to see some of the reputation, and people are saying that people notice our work. They notice that we take the time to be kind to them, to drive them up the door, to wait for them at the cemetery, whatever it is. But people notice our work. So now the team morale, the staff morale actually starts to improve, which makes for an overall better working environment, better business. All right. And then we also have trust builds before the first conversation. Trust builds before the first conversation. So before they even call, they've already established that they trust your firm. All right. Reputation isn't about perfection. So you see I have the little keys on the bottom as well. It's little keys. Reputation isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and it's about care. Seeing somebody that's consistent, consistently doing it, that means that they can expect this going forward. This is how reputation gets built. There's an expectation, there's consistency, and then also the care that is provided as well. This is how reputation gets built. All right. Now, for those of you here, actually, I'm going to give you a replay of this afterwards. So I know, I sometimes tell people to take notes during the session. So if you like to, you definitely could just have paper and pen available to take some notes. But you're going to get a replay of this. I think the replay is usually available for like 48 hours afterwards. Okay. So again, if we are intentional about building our reputation, it just makes for a better overall funeral business around on so many different levels. Now, I didn't give my introduction. Some of you I may know already. Some of you I'm probably just meeting for the first time. But my name is Samuel Stewart. Again, I'm here in the state of New Jersey, North Jersey, so outside of New York City. Married for 30 years. My wife and I, we have 9 children. All right, 6 boys and 3 girls, and right now we have 5 grands. We actually had 2 twin grandsons born just a little over 3 weeks ago. I'm a licensed minister, as well as a business and a life coach. Started our business, one of our businesses called Honor You Memorial Products. Started a business and still in business for the past 25 years. So it's a family business. My eldest son is actually taking the reins of this business as I do some other things, such as bringing this memorial mastery. Past president of a local BNI business networking group for 3 straight years. I'm the author of several books, including one of the books I have on here called A New Look on a Dying Industry. And it's kind of like a play on words. Yes, we're in the death care industry, but it's just about having a new look. Similar to and this book really was from, I think it was like 2008 or 2009 that I wrote this book, A New Look on a Dying Industry, just because the industry was shifting, it was changing already. And I've always been in technology, but always been, kind of looking to be ahead of the curve, so to say. So same thing for this industry. We have to do things differently. Just like I wrote about the magazine here, about obituaries aren't dying, they're evolving. All right. Same with the funeral industry. It's a dying industry, but we just have to have a new look on it and do things a little bit differently. There's one of the slogans that we use in business is called innovate or fade. All right. So we have to be innovative, and that's what we look to do. So now I also serve on the board of the oldest accredited funeral service program here in the state of New Jersey. And I serve on the board of another educational institution, which has over 1 million students worldwide. So I am only put this to say, I'm involved in the funeral industry, but I'm involved in business overall. And that's why I'm here making this presentation to you today. All right. Let's go ahead. So what funeral homes can do today? Actually, let me see if I can. I was going to put a poll up there. All right. I didn't test that out before. So I'll just go ahead with what we have. So let's go into, we share with you, why building reputation is important. What happens, if you don't do it, and what would happen if you are intentional about building it. And really, I'd say before we even go into what we can do today, just think about the example I gave you with my daughter-in-law and being able to have one extra, case within a month or within a week or what have you, if building reputation, because this is a way, again, I'm sharing with you, this is the way that families today are choosing how or which funeral home that they're going to go to. So what funeral homes can do today? This is what we can do like today, because all of you, or most of you at least, should have some type of a like a Google profile. But one of the most important things that people can do starting today is respond properly to existing Google reviews. All right, respond properly to existing Google reviews. Because if you do not respond to the reviews, and let's go back to the negative one we gave an example of. If there's a negative review that's out there and you don't respond to it, then it does one of two things, and neither one of them are good. One, when a prospective family looks and sees that there's no response on there, then they will assume that everything is correct, what they said about the firm, what their experience was. That's one. Or they'll just think that the funeral home really doesn't care about what people are saying about them. And neither one of those is good as far as building reputation. So that's in a negative case. In the positive case, let's say there are still positive reviews there, then you still want to respond to those as well, because then it still shows that you care about what people are saying. So one of the key things I say is initially what you can do today is respond to the Google reviews that you have out there. And you don't have to go, all the way back, because I know some of you may have it from years back and maybe there was no responses before, because it does get to be a little bit of work to respond to them. But I would definitely say within the last 6 months to look at any reviews that you have received and respond to them. And you can respond and say, thank you for allowing us to service you. Thank you for taking time to leave this review. Or if there was something that was negative, you don't want to get caught in a back and forth thing with the negative, but find a way to acknowledge, that whatever they may have said, and respond appropriately in that regards. Okay. So let me repeat this again. You don't want to get caught doing like a back and forth online, because like tit for tat, because that actually doesn't look good at all. All right. For a business to, go and to respond in that manner. So you want to, and I know, and I've spoken to people before, you may feel like it, and this might be like that person was just wrong with, you can still respond appropriately to them, so that others just see that you're responding, you're acknowledging. You don't have to admit to doing something wrong that you didn't do wrong, but respond appropriately. Now, I told you guys, if you stayed on, I was going to give you something. I'm actually going to give you one right now, because this is part of, no, I'm going to give it to you at the end, because that's where it actually comes out. Anyway, what I'm going to give you, if you stay to the end, is it's called Reputation Matters. And it actually gives you a guide on how to respond to the Google reviews that's there. All right. And if it was a 5-star glowing review, or if it was a 1-star scathing review, or if it was a review with no comments, a bunch of different things, it tells you just a guide for how to respond to them. All right. And the proper responses have, because that automatically is helping to build your reputation. So this here says silence speaks. Even though your intentions may be good, if you don't say anything, it is speaking. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. This is one thing I'll say. Now, Google reviews, they definitely matter. All right. Google reviews, they definitely matter, but they are not the entire story. They are not the whole story. The reality of Google reviews, yes, families use it. Google is here. It's not disappearing anytime soon. Yes, it's still important. However, there's a couple of things I want you to be mindful of with Google reviews, because Google is it's a generic platform, and you can search for everything on there. And our industry is just so unique in how we have to market, how we have to communicate with families. the sensitivity that we have to, approach in everything that we do. And, Google Reviews has some, because it's so general, it doesn't necessarily cater directly to our type of family. One of the things I've found in speaking to different funeral homes that has been a challenge is these things that we have on here as well, is that anyone can leave a review. So anybody that they didn't even have to come to your funeral home, they didn't have to even be serviced by you in any way, shape, or form, they can go online and leave a review. Now, one firm expressed how that ran to a big problem for them, especially during the time of the pandemic, and may understand how different business was, and it's still also such a sensitive time for families. But during the time pandemic, when there was a limited number of people that could actually, come to the services or even come to view the body. And during this particular case, in this time with this funeral home, there was a family that, or some people, members of the family, that were displeased because they couldn't come to, say goodbye to their loved one. And they ended up getting a bunch of their friends and other people together, and I guess they had some type of influence, but they went on and they talked bad about the funeral home, even though this wasn't the funeral home's, it was really like state laws that was really mandating how many people you have, but they talked bad about the funeral home, and they had all these people to come on and kind of bash the funeral home with Google reviews. So this is where it ran into a problem that basically anyone can leave a review. They didn't even have to be there. They just came on and left a review. All right. Second one is that timing is uncontrolled. And you may not understand, why this could be a challenge right now. I'll explain to you a little bit further as we go further. But basically, anyone can leave a review, or they can get to go leave a review at any time of the day. Some families never get asked. All right. Some families are not even aware that they can actually leave reviews for the funeral home, and they never get asked to leave a review. And that's one of the challenges many funeral homes that we deal with are facing as well, that they may put up signs, and maybe you have done this before. They put up signs, if you had a good experience, please leave us a review. But not everyone sees those signs. Not everyone knows that they can leave a review for the funeral home. And if you remember what I said initially, that a family is much more likely when they have a negative experience to go ahead and search and try and find, how can I, share this negative experience and make this complaint known so other people know about this. Well, they're 10 times more likely to do that. So when there's a positive experience, that alongside the grief and, this loss that a family experiencing, leaving a review can be one of, the last things that they're thinking to do. All right. Then also we talked about like even the comments and the responses to the comments. There's a public back and forth that can feel uncomfortable in this profession. Remember, our funeral profession is a very sensitive, it's a very sensitive time in people's lives. And having that public like back and forth can feel uncomfortable in this profession. And then also too, I'll say, and you may have noticed this already or be aware of this, but like Google search is slowly being minimized, and people are using more of an AI search or chat GPT search. All right. Not just chat GPT, but other AI engines as well. So AI search is actually starting to replace the traditional Google search, which is where you would actually see, much of the Google reviews that's there. So Google reviews weren't designed specifically for the funeral service, and this presents a challenge for our unique industry. So I want to share with you something that we have put together and we've introduced, and it has worked phenomenally, but it's still helping to build the reputation. And we call it the Honor You Verified Family Reviews. Now, Honor You Verified Reviews is a funeral home review platform helping families choose with confidence and helping funeral homes be discovered through trust. Now, let me see if I can actually share. I want to share with you how this looks here on the screen. Let me share the screen. All right, great. So you should see actually my screen here, because this is actually the website here, and I'll put it into the chat if you want to visit it. I'll just copy and paste actually. All right, but you can visit it a little bit after, because I want you can just kind of pay attention as I'm showing you this here right now. So this is what we call Honor You Verified Reviews, and we have funeral homes in here that's like preloaded. Many of these funeral homes preloaded, that national funeral homes, they're in the national directories. And if you, well, I'll show you. Like, this is a funeral home we work with. It's called Bragg Funeral Home. They're here in Paterson, New Jersey. And this funeral home has a 4.9 rating. All right, out of 39. They have 39 reviews currently. And this is really within the last less than 3 months that we've actually put this together. And they've garnered 39 reviews already. Now, it has basically, it has a image of the funeral home on top, which is great. Contact information, all the things like that there. But this is what makes it important, because it's a verified family feedback. I'm going to tell you the difference between this and other things as well. This has the responses from actual family members that have used the service. Okay, so these is of utmost importance of what people are looking for. They want to see people that have actually used the funeral home. And these comments are from people that actually went through and utilized Bragg. They mentioned staff members. Let's see what this one was. All right, so this is one that was just 2 days ago. The service of Bragg's was a 5. Everything went well. Me and my family were very pleased. Mentions staff members' names. Remember, we talked about how it helps to build morale. To give you the very best. Once again, thank you for all your service. And know that on behalf of my mother, Sandra Freeman, you cared for her in an excellent way. Love you. Okay, so this is how the response was. So all these are really more or less very recent. So within the last 3 months, they've gotten, now these are people that have left comments. Not everyone leaves a comment, but they've gotten 39 reviews, and most of them are 5, some there are 4, because we also have created a platform that's definitely still about honesty. We want to have honest feedback from families. There's some 4s in there as well. All right, so this is has a website. You can click on here and you can link to the website that's there. You also can see their Facebook page, I believe, from here as well too. A link to the Facebook page. Okay, and you guys should have saw that as well. Now, again, what's important about this and what makes this different, a couple of things. One is that it's verified family feedback. Now, people have an opportunity to see just verified reviews, and then if there were reviews from people that weren't family members, then they can see all reviews. However, the ones that's from a family member are weighted much more, meaning that it's in the whole scale of what rating it has. If someone's actually utilized that funeral home, then they actually have a stronger, their rating is stronger, considered strongly. Now, very similar to like other review platforms, yes, you can leave a review, you can give the rating there, you can make a comment, put your name, you get permission to post it. It's still the sensitivity. You put the loved one's name in the relationship. That's one of the ways that we collect reviews. And that's something that any one of you on here can actually do today and actually just claim your funeral home that's there. So if you come back to let's go back to directory, you can come on to reviews.honoryou.com, which I put the link in the chat. You can search for your funeral home name. You can search by name, city, or state. And let's say we come into this one here, A Life Celebration by Franklin. All right. If you click on it, well, you see it says not claimed here. If you click on this, you actually can claim this page, and it's completely free to claim the page. So you can claim this page. And this is one way to start actually building and collecting reviews. All right. You can't actually start getting reviews until you claim the page first, which is free. Now, once you claim it, you can have people come here to start submitting reviews and start even sharing this information. All right, so that's one way. Now, our particular unique way of actually gathering reviews and getting so many in the last couple of months is that we also can set it up where families, let me actually, I'm gonna stop sharing this so we can come back to what I was showing you before. What makes it so different is that it's designed specifically for funeral homes. We're focused on verified family experiences. Again, to know that someone actually went to the funeral home, these are the reviews that will matter the most to other potential families that are coming, they're looking. It can be collected sensitively via text, SMS. Now, you don't have to log into another platform or portal to be able to leave a review, unlike other review platforms. This is something that they can just go on, and it can be collected via text. So there's a text message sent to them, and they respond by text, giving their rating, giving their comments. All these ones we have already are just strictly done by text. So it's no extra steps. And this is important because you want to have the least barriers for someone to leave a review. If they have to go to this platform and then make sure they log in and then post a review from there and then submit it through that way, that's a couple of steps to get to it. But if it's just like I'm having a conversation through text, we found that people are so much more likely, and that's why we got so many in these last few months, so much more likely to leave the reviews because it just feels like a normal text conversation that they're having. And it is, more or less. So it's collected sensitively via text. And then also, it's timed, it can be timed intentionally. Now, there are best times to actually ask for a review. If a family is just leaving after funeral service, that's not necessarily the best time to ask for a review. There's a certain number of days that we have through determine of how many days afterwards. You don't want to wait too long, because if you wait too long, then families don't, it's kind of like you're jarring them back into this loss of the loved one. You don't wait too long, but then you don't want to do it too soon. There's the best day of the week or days of the week to ask. There's the best times of the day to ask for it as well. So this is how this verified reviews works. It actually times out when it's going to send it out, so it doesn't send it out on the wrong time of day. And then it gets displayed professionally, because like how you saw it right there, that's one of the professional displays. And I'll show you something else in a few moments as well too, how else it can be displayed. Now, we intentionally, right now, we don't have any public comment threads. So it prevents any uncomfortable public exchanges of anyone going back and forth. Remember, this is such a sensitive time for people in their lives, and sensitive, when someone's experiencing a death and a loss, they don't want to see a back and forth between a funeral home and a family that might have had some grievance. So it prevents any uncomfortable public exchanges. It maintains the dignity of the funeral home. AI, we use AI and technology, but myself, I'm very strong in technology, handles polite acknowledgement privately. So we still thank them privately, because it's like they're having a conversation with someone. And we acknowledge them, we thank them privately. And that's why they're so willing to share. And it's just really like a streamlined way that we actually do this. And it keeps the focus on the gratitude and not any type of debate that is there. Okay, so let me show you. I jumped off quicker than I was supposed to. I'm gonna jump back here really quickly. We still have a few more minutes, and I'm almost done. Let me just share this screen one more time because I want to show you. There we go. Okay, so you should see again. This is Bragg Funeral Home, and remember I showed you. It can have a link to the website. It has a link to the Facebook. You can have also Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. All right. And I'm not sure if LinkedIn, I'm not sure if we did for LinkedIn, but all these major social media platforms. Because again, one of the key things with this is that when we really position it so that it's universal site, it's gonna promote like all of your platforms. It's not like, okay, if I'm on Google, I just want to keep you on Google or within our Google world, or if it's Facebook, I just want to keep you within Facebook. This is going to show you all the different areas because funeral homes can be, and I'll even say should be, involved with different platforms and putting things on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. Yeah, I see some funeral homes getting out there as well too, and doing things on there. So we allow for all these different things to be connected to your page. But what I want to show you on here too is like on the website. This is their website. All right, and they have it, and you can put it where you want to, but they actually have it here on their website. So they see the verified family feedback on here, right on their website. So now when people come, before they come to your funeral home, before they even may pick up a call, they're going to look on your website and they'll get to see that, oh, wow, they have 4.9, there's 39 reviews. And this is how they can link to now go see the page that Bragg has. I'm clicking again, it brings us back to that page. But that's how it goes from the website towards bringing up the page, and now they can start to read like, okay, I'm here, I need some help, and Kim had a great experience, or Joyner had a great experience, or Clifton, and all these things are so recent. And these are families, all right? This isn't just people that are just on there because someone wanted them or asked them to, or these are actually families that have experienced Bragg's services in that regards. All right, so that I was showing you just quickly how it can get displayed one way on there. Okay, so let me stop this again. I'm going to come back to. I'm going to answer questions in a second. I do see a question there, Althea. So now this is another way that we actually display reviews. This is through social media and creating a post like this, which you can put this kind of post. I kind of just tilt it with this house. This post is, they put this on Facebook, and if they have Instagram, you can also put it on Instagram. You can post it on all your social platforms. Because when you have a great review, if someone says something great about your services, you don't want to keep it to yourself. It's good for us for our ego, or for just know, oh, we're doing really good, but we don't want just us to know it. We want our team members to know it. We want the world to know it as much as possible. So these reviews can get posted on your social media platforms looking like this, and then if they click on this again from social media, it would bring them to your page as well too. So now this is how these reviews are set up. Okay, and this one was another one. We didn't read it. Work done by Uncle's Body is excellent. And these are really specific. And not to say that everyone's comments are specific like this, but this can clearly see that this is a family that they service. Okay, and these are going to hold weight within our platform. But then also when someone is coming to look and see which funeral home they want to take care of their loved one. So Uncle's Body was excellent. I was extremely happy with how he looked. The preparation done by Mr. Holloway was great. He made the situation comfortable, and then it was a lot more. So you have to click on it. You'll see it in depth from that social media post. But now also we see how they named someone in particular, because that's how we actually frame it too. Is there someone that helped you, or that stood out that you want to acknowledge as well? And that's how they make a comment. And from the family's perspective, it's so organic. It's just a text messaging. Again, you don't have to log into a separate platform to do it. It's just text messaging that's sent back and forth to help build reviews. And then for the funeral home perspective, obviously too, it's also helping them to get more and more positive reviews, which is building up their reputation, that's building up the trust that they have. All right. In this profession, not every conversation needs to be public. Not every conversation needs to be public. So, all this is done really behind the scenes, and the highlight or what the family has said is what's made public. And they also give permission for us to post it as well too. So we don't take anything for granted. It's definitely a sensitive time. We're in this industry, so we understand how it is. It's a sensitive time, so we get permission from the families to be able to post their comments. If they don't give permission, then it just goes into the numbering system, like the 39 reviews that Braggs has right now. It'll go into that. And if they do give permission, then we post it publicly. And then we also, again, can make it available on social media platforms. Okay, so not in this press, not every, and even a thank you that we send to them afterwards is a private message. We thank them, and everything doesn't have to be public. Now, let me share with you really quickly AI's role with this, because again, this technology is using AI. Now, AI is not the enemy. All right, I've done sessions on AI, and that's not the next one I'm doing. I told you the next one we're doing is about using automation, but AI is involved with that as well too. AI is involved with different areas. AI is not the enemy. It is either a tool or it's competition. So if you don't use it for your funeral home as a tool, then you are automatically in competition with AI. All right, I'm going to repeat that to hopefully scare you a little bit, but not. If you don't use AI, then you are automatically in competition with AI. You might be like, well, if I don't want to use it, I choose not to use it. I choose not to learn about it, or what have you. But guess what? Your other funeral homes in your area, other funeral homes in your market are using it and will use it and will start to use it and will continue to use it. So if you choose not to use it, you're putting yourself in competition with it. And to be honest, the way it works with how it can help in business, you, myself, any one of us to be in competition with AI is almost like it's a losing battle. All right, for the most part. So we want to be able to use it as a tool, and this is one way that we use it as a tool. All right, AI supports the consistency. All right, in regards to being consistent with whether it's the responses, the requests for the review or the rating. It handles polite thank yous. All right, it's not that a person has to respond. The way we use it, AI actually, something called conversational AI, does the interaction. It handles follow-up. So let's say someone doesn't respond, like we text someone doesn't respond, it'll actually respond. It'll do a follow-up a day after, and it's definitely built around sensitivity in this profession. Again, this is what makes it so unique and so special, and so I'll say even necessary. It's not like it's a constant hounding. No, we just check. Okay, SMS or text message. If you don't respond today, we'll check back again tomorrow and give another message request. If they don't respond at that point, then we can just send them an email, and then that's it. And that's just the way that it's set up, presently. All right, it does text, and then it'll do an email if they don't respond to either a text, because we found people are so much more likely to respond to text first. But at the worst case, if they don't respond to text, then we just send an email. AI also reduces staff burden. All right, this is what it's meant to do. It's supposed to make us work smarter, not harder. So it reduces staff burden, and it works behind the scenes. All right, and when I say that in a good way, that for the most part, people have no idea that it's actually that they're texting back and forth with AI in that little, instance of getting the reviews and asking for permission, getting the rating. All right. There's definitely a lot of other intricacies and things built into it as well. But yeah, I'll spare you from all that. But there's really a lot that's put into this system, this program. So AI doesn't replace care; it supports it. It doesn't replace care; it supports it. Especially in this industry, uh, it we have to have care for the families that we service, and it's not replacing it with technology and something that's hard and cold. It actually helps us to provide even greater care, and people are so very appreciative even as we ask them for reviews, even as we do these things, because it shows that the funeral home cares. All right, as opposed to, and I don't know how you may operate right now, as opposed to not asking them anything. This is a way that we still can engage with the family afterwards. All right. And it leads to so many other things as well, too, because it shows that we care. It supports the care. Okay. So we're almost done here. I just want to remind you and say, it's not too late, for your funeral home. If you think you're behind with reputation and you see other people kind of getting ahead and doing some things with their firms or with technology, with AI, it's definitely not too late. And you can still be involved with it. You can still, and what I tell people, you crawl before you walk, before you run. You take little steps and you go from there. All right. You don't have to jump headfirst into doing a full blown AI marketing plan or anything like that. You crawl, then you walk, and then you run. So it's definitely not too late to get started. All right, now you don't need hundreds of reviews. You'll get there very quickly because, like I said, within less than 3 months, and really, less than 3 months they've gotten 40, and we've had other firms that have gotten even more and faster. But you don't need hundreds of reviews. You just need to get started, start and build these reviews, these verified family reviews. You don't need to start over. You don't need to become a marketer. You just need a thoughtful system, consistency, which AI helps you with, and then also something that's going to show some respect for families. Reputation isn't built overnight, but it can be rebuilt. Okay. Now, I'm going to just answer any Q&A. We're almost at an hour, and I see one question in there. If anybody has any questions, you could definitely just put into the question area. Now, Thea says, hi, is the platform strictly for funeral homes? I'm a memorial obituary program designer. So this review platform is for the funeral industry. And it's for funeral homes in that regards. Okay. So it's geared towards, and this is what makes it special. This is what makes it unique. This is what makes it suitable for funeral homes, is that it's the sensitivity that we handle it with the funeral home is coming from a funeral home perspective. So the reviews platform is for funeral homes. Okay. Now, if you want something else, because we have other systems as well too, and we can help with other things as well, because that's part of what we do too, then definitely I say just to reach out to me, and then we can talk a little bit further. I'd love to talk to you further about anything that you might be doing, especially in that area, because we also have our business in that space as well too. So Althea, you could just email, like the email address that you would have gotten from, you could just respond back, and I'd love to talk to you further about some things that we're doing to even support other memorial designers, like seems like what you are doing wherever you are located. Okay. And there's a lot of things that we have that can help even what you're doing with memorial obituary program designing. All right. Thank you. Another question. Oh, well, Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you got something from it. Okay. So thank you for joining us from South Africa. All right. I know, sometimes I get into the engagement with you guys, but I want to keep it about an hour. Just want to talk to you really quickly about, building your reputation and how very important it is. Okay. I'm going to give you what I said before, but, also you guys can go on to the reviews platform, and I'm gonna put that link in there again because you could just claim your page. Now, if you don't see a page there on the bottom, if you don't see it for your funeral home there, like in Africa, then you actually can put it there. Okay. I mean, our platform it works internationally, really, but we don't have things for funeral homes located around other areas. So all right, I put the Facebook group there. That's not what I was putting. I want to put the So you definitely join a Facebook group. But here is the reviews website. Okay, so you guys can go. Everyone that's on here can go to there, and I would say at the very least, just claim your page. It's completely free. You just claim the page. Okay, if you have any challenges, at the bottom there's a contact for support that's there. Also, if you don't find your funeral home and you want to add your funeral home, you can actually add funeral home down at the bottom as well. And then it's going to go through a process. We have to, confirm some things as well. So it's not automatic when you have to add a funeral home. But you can add a funeral home. But again, if you have any questions, then just go through support and contact. All right. So so now let me give you what I said I was going to give you before. So this reputations, and hopefully you guys found it helpful for you. You found the information helpful and beneficial for you being here. I thank you for being here for this time with me. I just put the reputation matters there, and I'm also putting the case study. So it should come up in the chat area. Let's see. All right, so you guys should see the reputation matters and the case study on how a funeral home went from 3 point something to close to 5 stars. All right, you should see it in there. I don't see it personally here, but I believe it should show up for all of you. If you guys don't see it, just let me know. But any other questions, I can answer any other questions as we're about to end. Thank you again for being here. Now, also keep in mind, I'm going to stop this because I want to show you in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing another session. Let me stop sharing. I'm going to come back to share it again. Okay. So in 2 weeks, we're going to do another session. So just join our Facebook group for more information on that. We're going to be doing a session on how funeral homes can do more with less, really using automation. All right. That'll be in 2 weeks, I believe on Wednesday in 2 weeks. Again, hopefully you guys got something from this session. And also, hopefully you guys got the handout because I just can't see it on my end. But look out for any emails that we send you about this next session. Setting up automation. You can automate so many different things in the back end, from marketing to post funeral services. And I say this is one of the most overlooked areas in our business that can drastically impact how families will come back to us, be repeat business, and their overall experience with us. So I'm going to talk about that in the next session as well. All right. Funeral homes can do more with less through automation. All right. Well, thank you again for your time. Thanks for being here, and look forward to the next session that we have with you. Any questions, again, you can email back to the email address you've gotten any of the materials from, or on the website, just go to the contact support. Okay. I see you work with Connie and David, and you own a funeral home in Louisiana. Okay, so all of you that's on, hopefully you guys go on. It's very simple to claim your page. All right, claiming your page is you just go on and film the little information that's there, and you can claim your page and then start building reviews from there. Okay, now additionally, there's other ways that we can do it through the whole SMS, so we can work with you in reference to doing that, just like really like hyper and fast building it. But we just go and claim your page right now and get that done, and then you can start seeing how you can build reviews from there. And we'll work with you, especially those of you coming on. This is really the first webinar I'm actually ever doing on this thing. Again, I'm very much in technology. I'm very much into innovation and doing things differently and a little bit out the box. That's my book, remember, New Look on a Dying Industry. So this is the first time that I'm actually introducing this reviews platform online in public like this. So you guys are like really first comers to this and can like jump ahead. And I would love to even work with you, and especially like the ones you sign up and do some stuff like soon. I would just work with you just to see how it goes and just get it going. But you have to take the first step. Okay, showing up here was great and being here, but just go ahead and claim your page, or contact us through support if you need some assistance. We work with so many funeral homes in the business that we do, and some of them embrace some of these things as well. But there's also, some people that we've never worked with before that just kind of jump on these things right away as well. So you guys are really the first ones to see me doing a presentation. And I invited some of our existing clients, plus, all of you on here as well at the same time. And you guys can be like the first partakers, as we'll say. So just go on and claim your page. Right, that's for your first step. And also join our Facebook group, which I put it there because we're putting stuff in our Facebook group as well. And it's just very simple to do that from wherever you are in the world. But thank you guys again for being here. I'll be at some conventions this year. I know I'll be in Tampa. Supposed to be teaching at one of the conventions there, and then potentially also in Alabama, I believe, in March, do a session on there. I taught about AI last year. We're going to do something different this year. So, all right, that's it. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate you and look forward to working with you. Go ahead and claim your page.